Friends, thank you for watching my channel. I just want to remind you, if you need wallpaper, go to www.wallpaperboulevard.com. Tell them Spencer sent you. In fact, if you use my hashtag, Spencer Colgan is wallpaper, they'll be sure to give you a 10% off at your checkout. No matter how much you order, they have a wide selection of wallpaper. Check it out. So you want to cover your air vents, your switchblade covers, and things of that nature, but you have no idea how to do it. Well, let me show you how I go about doing mine. Each of these fins here have a measurement. And I cut the wallpaper the exact amount of space that they are long and wide, each one. And so they will go in first. I turn it over, and the back fins also have a place, front and back, each one, where I will cut a piece to fit on that. The front of it will simply be covered at the end when I put this vent right over the back of the wallpaper. Flap my wallpaper over to this side, glue it down, bend it, of course, before I do that, and then we'll have this wallpapered. Let me show you. Well, we can't use wallpaper paste to do this, so I'm using Loctite, and I'm going to just spread it about with the applicator against here, and then crimp it against this piece. After I get my paste on, or my glue, I should say, I just fit it into this, which is already pre-creased. And just push it down. Nice and tight. Now, of course, I've already painted the color of the wallpaper, matching it at the store, because these little crevices right up around here, all the corners, may show a little spot here and there. It's got to be green, or else it's going to look terrible. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of them just the way you saw me do it. I don't want any bubbles in it. I'm just making sure that it's all nice and flat. Make sure that you pre-crease each one, because you can't be creasing it after you glue it. This stuff will start sticking to everything. What I did was I just took a pencil and I pushed it up against the metal, just like that, getting in there, pushing it in there. Okay, not so bad so far. You don't need a ton of glue in there, and you gotta work quick. I just don't want that getting on my hand, because then you have to stop for a few minutes until the glue dries on your hand. push it all the way down first. You can't secure the sides until this is secure. Now start pinching it. And if my sides are fat like that, I just push the pencil up against the side to get it nice and tight in there. So they're all covered. And you want to look at them to make sure that they're sitting properly. And if you see any of them fat, you just go in there, you make sure that you taper them down. And there are a couple of things like you can do that with. You can do that with a 5-in-1, smooth side of the pencil. You're just looking to just bend the material into place. I then cover my vent with my wallpaper because I have to now wrap it around this side. But then I have to know what is the distance between the corner, all the corners, this one, to the edge of the fascia. So what is this distance? In addition to the distance down to the bottom. And that's 2 inches and 10/16. My first bend is going to be here because I want to make a bend in the wallpaper where it has to bend and go into these areas here. So from here to here is 1 1/4 inches. And so I'm making a pencil mark on the other side of this where I need to bend it. That happens to be 1 1/4 inches. And so I turned it around and I made a pencil mark because I'm going to bend it here. 1 1/4 inches. Now my wallpaper is ready to bend around my vent. Now this is grass cloth. You don't have to do this bending bit, making these pencil marks. This is very tough wallpaper here. You won't have to do this. This will just easily bend with your wallpaper if it's not this grass cloth. So you don't have to go through this with your soft wallpaper. Now this applies for old wallpaper. I've put my vent back onto the wallpaper. I've drawn a perimeter with a pencil mark so I don't get confused as to which crease is for the outer edge and which is for the inner edge. And so I've drawn a perimeter so that when I cut, as you'll see in a few moments, I don't go beyond the wrong bend. Okay, now you see the pencil lines in there? Look, see those pencil lines? They're going to be my cut marks. So I'm drawing where my cut marks are going to go. Don't you wish you just stuck to painting? Now I've labeled, now that we've committed to these individual pencil marks, I labeled this top. I put it on here too, top, bottom, because now I'm going to take it off and I'm going to cut the lines. Okay? Now you can see the importance of the measurement here, the distance between here to here and here to the bottom. Because these pieces that get cut into here can't fall short. So you want to make sure that you cut them far enough. This is all going into the garbage after we cut out what we need here. All right? So now I'm going to put my straight edge up against this line here and cut this. Then I will cut these. What remains will be these little flaps in between that go into these areas here. Do you see the pencil marks in there? You see that right on to the right of my blade there? Don't get confused. You need the space in between the pencils. So you don't want to cut the top off. You want to cut where these things can just become intact. It has to be still attached, so you don't want to be cutting this line at the top. Here's what I mean now. I'm going down here, cutting each line that I've made. See that? Remember my measurement 2 10/16 from before? Well, this represents the fascia from the edge to where the first bend is right here. But the depth, which is the space on the side, is all of this. I can stop at 2 10/16, so I drew my line. That's going to be all I need. This is garbage in here. This is all going to be cut out. I hope I'm not confusing anybody here. This bend here, this line, is my perimeter, don't forget. It's this edge. The space between the edge and where my first bend is 2 inches and 10/16. So I've drawn a line. I've got to make this a solid line all the way here. Then I came from the perimeter all the way up to here. Same thing here. I just happen to have already drawn the line here. So that's what I'm doing now. To make it easier for myself, I've taken out the piece that's not needed. These are now going to fill in those spaces. There, and there, and there. Now you're starting to see. After you get them all cut, it should look something like this. So now we can see a little more clearly what's going on. You can see these pieces going here. Now, there's a technique that we paper hangers use when we wallpaper around windows. When we do a window reveal or a return on a window. Picture this being a window in here. Well, we have the top return, right? We put the wallpaper in there. But then when we come to the edge, the wallpaper right here in this area will either go for the space at the top or on the side. It can't do both. So if I use the wallpaper right here, this whole area here, to go into this part, I take away from the top. If I take the wallpaper and use it only for the top, look what happens. It will go right into the edge. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to cut this piece. 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 I'm I take away from the side. Do you see that? And so when that flaps in, I have a space here. Now that's why you have to paint these things. Now, we're not going to cover that with paint. We're going to have to splice a piece of grass cloth in there. Now this is a lot easier for you folks who are doing these wraps with conventional wallpaper. This is not conventional wallpaper, typical wallpaper. So this is more challenging. If you can do grass cloth, you can do any wallpaper. We have to make these sticky. You got the idea, right? After you get all of these flapped in correctly, you're left with the wallpaper that's voided by each of these fins. Okay? Now this has to be done surgically, taking your X-Acto knife or whatever and making sure you don't cut more off, okay, than you have to. So I just put super glue after the hairspray just to make it stick down. I trimmed the pieces that are going to need to be cut off. And then I took my cover off and I put super glue in all of these spaces real quickly and then just pushed it down. Now it's all permanent in there. Okay? Now I can do the same for this side. It's not going to affect this side, that's stuck down. And this is how I did it, real quickly. Get that glue in there. Try not to get it on the already wallpapered verticals, right? Real quick. I've propped the vent up against my tape measure so that I can have an angle. Okay. Now, let's bring this back down. Push them in. Real quick. Get them in there. Nice. See how nice and tight they are now? Get them in there. Now I can go around and glue down the perimeter, because this is all stuck now, okay? So I lift this up, put some super glue in it, push it down, do the other side, etc., etc. That's why it's important to have it creased already. You don't want to be flapping it over onto super glue and then realize you got a fat corner here. You want to have this creased already. Because if it's not, you can wind up doing one of these. You glue it down, then you realize, oh no, your corner's not tight. You want to make that wallpaper curve with the metal because you don't want this sitting on your wall, pushing up against the wall, making a space. We're almost there. I'm trimming this on an angle. It looks like I'm cutting it all off. I'm not. I'm actually giving myself a 1/16 of an inch of this little flap here, just to cover up like a carpet, you know? You can't see it, but I am. And so I take the little flap that I left and push it in. Same thing here. I'm doing it on an angle. Okay. I'm going to do the same for this. And then wallpaper the back pieces. Okay, see you on the next frame. inch and 3/16. Inch and 3/16. My pencil stopped writing. Alright, let me just show them how I'm doing this. 1, 2, 3. La dee 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 dee. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. So, it's going into a air conditioning open space. If you're a little longer than necessary, what it will do is it'll trap dust on it. That's what it will do. This particular material, anyway. Grass cloth. So, but that's the way it goes. I just want to show them how we're doing the back, right? Okay, so now you can see how it's all coming together. And I'm just going to do that for the rest of them. Okay, we'll trim these off. It's a labor of love, right? You see these little flaps here. Get rid of them. You can also take your blade. Okay, I'll continue to do that and I'll show you the finished product coming up. What do you think? Do you like it? Depending on where your vent will be on the wall, usually people look up at vents. In which case, you can get away with doing one side of this louver. But if it's 13 feet in the air on a 22-foot wall, you may want to do both sides of the louver, because you may see from the top of the staircase one side, and when you're looking underneath you see the other side. So keep that in mind when you do yours. Do you like it? I like it. If you have any questions about it, watch the video. A lot of people are asking me questions that are answered in the videos, and it's a little bit unnerving. So, you know, I work hard. You know, I'm getting questions. I'm like, you didn't watch the video. I love, this is my favorite. I love your videos. I watch all of them. And then they ask me 5 questions that are answered in all of the videos. Okay, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Shop at wallpaperboulevard.com. I'll see you on the next video.